Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to York Chats with the Stash. I am Austin the Stash, and joining me today is the incredible Carrie Remmers from the Anna Bemis Palmer Museum. Carrie, how are you?
Incredible, apparently. I don't know if I'm going to live up to that name today. Got a little bit of a head cold going on, powering through it.
Absolutely. You got to do what you got to do. Yeah, happy fantastic. Really excited to have you on, especially because, you know, the museum has had a really, really cool setup for the last couple months, really. You know, so... Right? Am I going crazy?
So, no, it's been a lot of fun. I am trying, and this is probably, I don't know if this would be anybody else's strategy, but we do these featuring displays that we rotate, and I'm trying to, 180 psych people out every time we switch because, okay, so we started with military, and I'm like, what's the farthest thing from military we can do? Art. Okay, so let's do art. So then we do art. Okay, so then we did art. And then we're like, okay, well, how do we 180 out of that? What's different? History of York County. Okay, awesome. So
Bang.
History of York County is the current one, right? And now we're like, okay, well, now what do we do?
Right.
So next up for us is fashion, which I'm sure we'll talk about at some point during this episode. But yeah, History of York County. It's been going for quite a while now, and the last date to see it is February 28th.
Okay.
So if you haven't yet swung by, absolutely make sure to do that. Open hours for us are Tuesdays through Fridays from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. But there is always the option. If you need an after-hours tour, you can reach out to us through the website, and we would be happy to set that up for you.
Very nice. And this is the last chance to see the bank counter for a while?
Yes, for a while. I mean, I don't know if I can work that into the fashion scene stuff, but yes, no, the bank counter was highly sought after. It has appeased many to see the small section of it. I do have to forewarn people expecting the full bank setup. I have the full bank setup, but... because of how it's laid out, it's under the short ceiling part, and I wasn't able to do the whole tall, with the bank windows with the bars and the cabinets and stuff. Sure. I have it all. I plan to use it under the tall ceiling, but in order to be laid out like a map of York County, it was under the short ceiling, and no one was more disappointed than me about that.
I believe it.
Yeah. I so many people ask, where's the bank? I have the bank. It's there.
It hasn't been lost to the sands of time.
No.
It is firmly in your possession.
It is in our storage unit.
Fantastic. Very, very good. So last chance to see the history of York County, which we've talked about before, is just really incredible.
A lot of really cool stuff. A lot of people don't know, and I use this so many times when I give the tour. There's so many guys that were born here but then went to California to get famous. Race car guy Earl Cooper, born in Arborville, right? Went to California to race cars, became this really big IndyCar driver, like Indy 500. He was cursed there. I have a whole list of times that he went there from the early 1900s to the 1920s, and it's I felt so bad for this guy. He's spun out, ran into a car, ran out of gas, tire went bad. The best finish he had was second place. He's in the lead. He's going to win. He gets a flat tire, and he has to pull up. And then he gets back on, and he's in the lead, and he's going to win. He gets another flat tire, and it's just this guy is cursed. So, okay, so race car driver, moves to California, gets famous, whatever. Guy from Charleston. Yeah, Charleston went on to win the Kentucky Derby. Did you know we have a Nebraska guy that won the Kentucky Derby in the 50s?
Not.
Yeah, so really cool. It's basically, his name's Dave Erb, right? Born in Hall County, but raised in Charleston. Then moves to California and gets really famous for riding horses and stuff like that.
Sounds like I need to move to California.
I know, that's the thing. It's it's just repeated. And then, so Thayer guy, Steve Henson, born in Thayer, York High School, all this other stuff. Went to become a plumber in Alaska, made bank doing that because nobody wanted to do that, so he made a lot of money. Moves to California to retire, and then, is the Hidden Valley Ranch creator. So, we don't even have Dorothy Lynch as our own. It's ranch came from us, too. So there's just so many things. Fred Niblo, another guy born in York, moves to, New York and California and does all the directing gigs and stuff like that. And then he's part of the Great Eight for Hollywood, and he goes on to co-found the Academy of Arts and Sciences. Some dude from York, Nebraska is on the original panel for that and is, a huge... There's a statue of him on Hollywood Boulevard, and people don't even know that he's from York. So... A lot of that stuff that is little known facts that you don't know that you should know, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
That's being featured. But then a lot of local stuff too that has nothing to do with California, I promise. Where's really cool My favorite stuff is there's some really cool baseball uniforms from like the York Braves and like the Legion teams and stuff like that.
Nice.
A lot of wedding dresses, which is why we're doing Fashion Next. So many people see the ones that we have up and say, "Do you have more?" And then it's like, yeah, like 40. So
there's
really
never
cool.
an end to the wedding dresses.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's just an everlasting saga. We've actually started dressing mannequins early because it takes time for like the mannequin bodies to be shipped to us, and so we're like, we'll do it early so the rotation goes a little bit smoother. And I don't want to freak anybody out, but if they were to visit my basement right now, it looks like Skynet. Okay, so I have all these mannequins, right?
Oh no!
But I didn't think to like pre-order the wigs too. So there's like all these bald mannequins that are like standing in lines and just dressed in these party dresses and these wedding dresses.
Oh no!
And it freaking looks like Skynet had a ball and forgot to invite you. You walk downstairs and you're just like, what is going on? I wait for like an arm to reach out and grab me when I walk past. It freaks me out every time. They don't have wigs on. They're just these bald female mannequins that are just like staring at you when you walk down the stairs. They're all in lines. I had to rearrange so they weren't all staring in the same direction. It was creepy. And then it's just like, do you want Skynet? Because this is how you get Skynet. That's
Absolutely.
how I feel. Anyway, so that's my
terrifying.
That's my basement right now. So there's a lot going on in the basement. There's the display going on the showroom floor. Mm-hmm. We are planning for programming. We have one more program to go with this display, which we were going to talk about.
Yeah.
I'm super pumped. I don't know who schmoozed who, but like Gene Curtis and Anthony Jacobson are coming this Sunday, February 16th at 2 p.m. to talk about like the history of the radio station here in town.
Yeah.
Just super pumped.
It's super exciting, and I've seen their presentation. I haven't seen like them give the presentation, but I've seen like parts of the presentation.
Okay.
It's going to be very, very good.
Have they been practicing? Because that is like new. I don't think any of the other ones practiced at all.
They haven't been practicing yet, but I have a feeling that if I know Anthony, is that he's going to do the full presentation for me, and Gene's going to say, "I'll wing it when I get there."
That's totally Gene, and that's totally allowed. Everybody is allowed their own style. Totally fine. Totally fine.
Yeah, and so it's going to be very, very good. And so if you are around York, 2:00 on Sunday, definitely stop by.
Sunday the 16th. It's free. Like Mother Like Daughter Bakery, they are making radio station themed cookies.
Nice.
I'm gonna have hot chocolate. It's gonna be awesome. I hear that there are some possible radio station artifacts that we'll be doing a guest display table for.
I've seen a couple of them already. I think the funniest one, I hope he brings this one, is a Rubik's Cube with logos on it for KRVN, or I can't remember what logo it is, but it's crazy to think all of the things that have been radio memorabilia throughout the decades. I mean, I can think of like, for some of the stations that I've worked for, going back in their prize closet in the dusty corner that no one ever goes to, and pulling out like old little handheld FM radios that had to have headphones plug in that ran on 3 AAA batteries.
Nice.
Like, those are some of the things. And then, of course, all of the stress toys, that always come out with sort of stuff and different stuff. So there could be a whole bunch.
There could be a whole, like, a couple tables worth of radio station artifacts. And who knows, if the stash is, on this radio station for the next 50 years, maybe his decorative leg, which if you have not been to his office, freaks me out every time I walk in here. There's just this random leg. It's leaned against the wall. It's got several signatures. I've asked the story about it several times. That could become a radio station artifact down the line. You never know.
I have a feeling that if it doesn't become an artifact for York, it's going to become an artifact for like spring football, because it comes from the Alliance of American Football, which predates the UFL and predates the XFL. And so they're just,
He's really proud of this leg.
I'm really proud of this leg.
I told him he's missing out, that he has not turned it into a leg lamp. It could be a real focal piece for this office, and instead it's just leaned against the wall, all sad.
It's just distraught.
It needs some.
It's a sad story leg. It's
sad leg. It's a sad leg over in the corner.
Leg in the corner.
I feel like it's like staring at me. It's just over there. More Skynet.
Its foot turns every once in a while to make sure it's aimed at you.
Terrifying. terrifying.
Goodness gracious. So that's coming up on Sunday.
Yes, So current display runs till 28th. The program is this Sunday, the 16th. And then that's pretty much it for History of York County display.
So what happens on March 1st
That's
then?
the fun part. I think it's technically like March 3rd. That's the Monday that we come back from the weekend. So we're going to be closed for the month of March. I know people don't love that, but I hope that they realize that we close for such a long time to rotate because we want to do it right and we want to put in our best efforts. And that means taking the time to properly box up and handle the artifacts that are coming down and then properly not only display the new stuff that's coming up, but do the research on what to say so that the first person that comes in for a tour isn't like shunted with this crappy tour that I don't know anything about these artifacts, but I'll show you the ones I think are pretty,
Yeah.
Like I want to be able to like give a knowledgeable tour to the first person as much as I want to give a knowledgeable to the last person. So I do a lot of research when we're closed just so that I can practice touring and what to say and then the informational and trying to have like an anecdote about different sections and stuff like that. So it does take us some time to rotate to handle for handling purposes, but also for display purposes and then just for knowledge for staff as well. So we'll be closed for March. However, probably the first or second week of April is going to be the reopen. It is on fashion. And for those of you that follow us on our social media, you've probably seen this already. But if you haven't, go and check out our Facebook, Instagram, whatever. We are actually accepting names for the fashion display right now. We have this like survey. We gave out a bunch of options. I've gotten a lot of really cool input from the community about options as well. We were thinking like a century in style, a century in style, or like
I like that,
draped in history or something. Well, somebody came back at me with like threading through time or like hemmed in history or stuff like that. So we've got some really cool suggestions going on there. That is going to run through this week, and I'll probably put it out there with all the patron suggestions so we can officially pick a title that the Yorkins, what do you call us? Yorkins, I
guess. We gotta find something.
We're gonna need a community name
Yorkites?
That's a little bit more catchy. That's better than Yorkians. I got nothing. Somebody call in and tell us what we're supposed to be called. So the York community can pick one and run with it, and that'll be the name for our fashion display. And so that will run from April through August. And like I said, we have a ton of wedding dresses. We've got my Skynet mannequins getting ready with their party dresses.
Finally get out of the basement.
They will, get their purpose. It'll be great. We've got, the 3-piece suits, the fur coats, the pinstripe suits. I've got hats, hat boxes, shoes, purses, jewelry, stuff like that.
I'll tell you what, I should have asked you to dress me for the York General Auxiliary Gala that I went to on Saturday.
I've got suits in all sizes.
They put me up in a white tux with a black bow tie, but I needed like a hat to really pull it all together.
We've got the fedoras, man. They're pretty cool.
All right, next time.
We're pretty cool.
The next time I need to dress up,
there
I'm just going to
come to the museum, and I'll be like, this is from the 1800s. Make sure that you handle it.
If you turn
properly.
too quickly, it will turn to dust.
Yes.
Don't.
There you go. It might smell a little bit like mothballs, but just roll with it. No.
But so what's like the timeline beginning and end for this new one? Like
fashion kind of stuff, like years, not like April to August.
Right.
So earliest wedding dresses that we found so far are 1800s. I can't give you an exact date on that. I know we've got stuff from like the 1880s. But, this is all stuff before wedding dresses were all white, because I guess one of the British queens, she had a white dress and then everybody wanted a white dress. So we've got some stuff before that I've got like a red dress and a green dress and a brown dress. And, we also have non-wedding dresses, like the party dresses. We've got stuff from France, from Italy, from whatever. And so for arrangement-wise, like, I am not a fashionista whatsoever, but I was kind of talking with the volunteers, and we're like, why don't we arrange it in scenes? So what it's going to be is, obviously, all the wedding dresses will kind of be on the same wall, and we hope to arrange them chronologically. But then we want to do, like, here's, like, a speakeasy scene. So you have, like, all of the party dresses with the pinstripe suits and the flapper dress and the fur coats and stuff. And a fun way to actually arrange that is you can actually include a lot of other artifacts that aren't fashion related. Like I could put up, my phonographs or my record players or, other stuff like that. Retro liquor bottles because of the speakeasy thing, stuff like that. Or we could do kind of like wartime where we put up some of our military uniforms, and then in the back we can do stuff with the ration tokens, or the posters that you get for war bonds and stuff like that. We could also do like a photo shoot one where I put up some of my vintage cameras. You could do everything in black and white and includes like some of the typewriters or things like that. Or you could do a monochrome one, like here's all your red dresses, here's all your brown dresses, everything you've seen is red, brown, kind of stuff like that. We also have a ton of stuff in the schools. We could do one that's like the Letterman jackets, and I don't know. There's a lot of different scenes that we could do. We're kind of still arranging. That's why we're dressing so far in advance. I know it's only February and this doesn't start till April, but like we need to know how many mannequins we need first off. And so that's why we're doing it so early. But also because we want to kind of arrange these scenes in our head and know which artifacts that we also want to kind of plug in to make it look more... I mean, I don't know how lifelike you can say them because they're mannequins.
They're mannequins.
We will have
we
wigs.
We don't need the Uncanny Valley. We don't need any. Yeah.
But yeah, no. So arranging in advance, doing research in advance, as much in advance as we can, so that we can be as successful the first day as we have.
Well, that sounds really fantastic. I mean, it's too bad that it's going to take that month of March to do it.
Yeah, it takes some time. I'd love to be able to remain open, but just like the flow of the room, it doesn't really allow us to do that.
So you mentioned the volunteers. Is there a way for people to volunteer and help out?
We are looking for people. If you are interested in kind of the historical aspect, you're absolutely welcome to apply. Right now, we're mostly trying to get through the inventory. For those that don't know, we have like 6,000 items in our collection.
Wow.
And previous curators did a ton of work and a ton of just really great, like keeping the stuff clean and keeping it organized and stuff like that. The only thing that we're sort of dealing with right now is that all of the records are like handwritten. So I can't like keyword search. I can't,
Absolutely.
So we're currently working on updating to an online database, and that in itself is just a whole adventure. And right now,
it's so funny that you mentioned that because the U.S. Like not library, but the
Library of Congress.
It's not the Library of Congress, but it's like the Library of Congress. I don't know how else to put it. But they are currently looking for people.
National Archives.
The National Archives.
I know what you're talking about. Yes. I read that too. Yeah,
they're currently looking for people who know how to read cursive.
Yeah, it's all the calligraphy. Oh my gosh, you have no idea. So just so you brought that up, I thought I was the curator with the worst handwriting, and I am not. And that's so sad when the person, like my teacher, who happened to be a relation of mine and was my mentor for so many years, she came up to me one time and she's like, "Who taught you how to write?" And I was like, "You did. Like that. This is your fault." She couldn't read something, and I thought, "Oh my God." So that tells you about my handwriting. My husband makes fun of me all the time. My signature is just like a giant C with a line after it. Okay. It's not even the worst out of all the curators. There's this one from like we started, in the 60s, 1960s.
Yeah.
And some of those early years, like, is that an A? What is that? Like, I can't.
Could be anything.
Well, my favorite example is we had these shoes that belonged to J.A. Parks, big time musician in New York's history. He had a whole music company here. And I was like, Brent, to one of my volunteers, Brent, we have his shoes. We have his pointed shoes, or sorry, no, his painted shoes. We have his painted shoes. It says painted shoes. Go find me his painted shoes. And then 20 minutes later, he comes up and he's like, "Did you mean pointed shoes?" Like it was an O and not an A. And I was just like, I don't even know what a painted shoe would look like.
I don't know either.
Like, go find me his painted shoes. No, it's pointed shoes. There's a lot of calligraphy. We have people's diaries in the collection, and some of the wartime ones, like I have a Spanish American war diary. And not only are you dealing with maybe stuff that's not as politically correct as it should be. You're also trying to deal with, and then the sun damage over time, and the ink fades and runs together, and then you're just like, the calligraphy is so like, what does that say? Like, I wish I could just scan it and say, you translate, like have the chat GPT read it for me.
Here, AI, figure it out.
Tell me what this says. but politically correctly phrase it so I can post it somewhere. There's so many things that I'm just like, I would love to upload this, but maybe not in those words. Anyway, so no, I totally ran into that too. So not the curator with the worst handwriting, probably the second worst handwriting. I will go on record as saying that. So we're working on updating our records. That's a volunteer project. We're working on doing inventory. That's a volunteer project. We're working on, trying to have evening or weekend hours and stuff like that. That's a volunteer project to lead the tours and stuff like that. And so lots of volunteer opportunities to kind of work with there. And if you're not into volunteering, but you're into museums, come and take the tour. The ways to get involved are mostly just to come and take the tour and spread the word. That's the easiest thing. If you want to support the museum, come take the tour and spread the word. Talk about the programming, talk about the display, talk about the upcoming display. Visit our website, which is palmermuseum.com. Visit the Facebook page, visit the Instagram page, visit the YouTube page, share and subscribe and do all the things to promote the word so that some, obscure person who may be interested gets the words and then comes and travels and takes the tour. That's the best and the easiest way to get involved, is just to be supportive, even if it's just online or, via word of mouth. That's always great. So.
Absolutely.
And I've been really blessed. I was looking at statistics the other day, and this is incredible. We used to be in the community center.
Mm-hmm.
And for the past 10 years there, we had about 1,000 visitors in those 10 years. We did statistics for our first year that I took over. Now, I took over in 2023. We moved in 2021, but we were kind of open on and off then, so I can't tell you statistically what that was. But for the 2023-2024 budget year, we had 947 visitors in 1 year.
Wow.
And it tied the past 10 years at the community
center.
That's
incredible.
And it's just because the community has been so supportive. And I know there was a little bit of hesitation with this move, but people have really jumped on to this rotation thing. They've showed up for the programs. They've showed up for the tours. They've asked a lot of questions. They've been supportive. And I know a lot of people were really curious about how this was going to go because, we were in the community the community center for so many years, and Anna was so, it was her funding that kind of put that building together. And so I know there was a little bit of controversy when I took over. But, people have shown up in droves, and it's been awesome.
That's fantastic.
I couldn't ask for a better community. It's so awesome to see people not just coming, but coming back. I get the usual suspects every program.
Nice.
Same people show up with, more and more and more of different members of the community because we're trying to reach out to different groups. That's the whole goal of this rotation, is to, maybe you're not interested in military, but you're interested in art, or you're interested in York, or you're interested in fashion, or, after fashion, I really want to do retro technology. I really want to do the typewriters and the music stuff and the sewing machines and the kitchen gadgets and the medical stuff. And that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
But I'm a community museum.
Absolutely.
I display what they want to see. People wanted to see the dresses, so we're doing fashion. So if you don't want to see retro tech next, just tell me what you do want to see, and I'll postpone it. That's fine. It's all good.
Well,
eventually I'll get
I want that stuff.
I think it would be cool.
I think so too.
Because you can do different sections, like the kitchen and the farming, and I can bring up some of those ag tools, and oh my gosh, so much ag equipment.
I can imagine.
So much ag equipment. It's really cool. It's really cool. And it's just been a joy. I didn't really know what I was getting into when I came. I worked for Lincoln City Libraries for 13 years, and I loved it.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And then when I came to work here, I was like, I don't have a museum degree. What are they thinking, hiring me? But, museums and libraries are very adjacent.
Sure.
And it is a lot of the same stuff, and it is a lot of the same work. And, it's been awesome. I love it. It's totally just a breath of fresh air. And,
I tell you what, every
I don't
time,
have any regrets.
Every single time you come in, I get more and more excited about what's
awesome.
coming up.
It's different. It's just something different. Come and do it. It's free, so even if you end up not liking me or the tour, it's free. What are you going to do? And the program, there's cookies and there's hot chocolate, and you get to listen to Gene, and you get to meet Anthony, who's station manager. That's the head honcho
that's
people.
The big guy.
That's a big deal. Yeah. So come and view the presentation and ask them all the hard-hitting questions about the radio station. You got questions about the radio station, this is time to come and do it.
Please do.
It's free. It's Sunday afternoon at 2:00. I hope there's not snow. I hear there's sno this week. Hopefully there's not snow this weekend.
Probably not.
I hope not. I don't want to put that out there.
I'm just putting that into the universe.
But no, it's going to be great. We're really excited. We're super thrilled with the public's response, and we hope to keep it up and to keep making you guys proud.
Fantastic. Be sure to check them out online at
palmermuseum.com.
Fantastic. And the Facebook page?
The Facebook page is awesome. I try every Monday. Actually, after this interview, I got to go back and film one. But we do Mondays at the museums. There's a new behind-the-scenes video of what's going on at the museum every week, posted on Mondays. That goes on the Facebook page, the Instagram, the YouTube. We also do, item of the weeks on Friday. So I'll post different stuff from the collection that's either on display or, into the inventory. I'll post stupid little... not like TikTok videos, but just, little clippings of, other stuff. And it's been great.
Very
it's a lot of fun.
Fantastic.
So come check it out, get involved.
Absolutely. Carrie's having a ton of fun. You'll have a ton of fun.
Yes.
Be sure to head there before the end of February.
February 28th is the last day. It is. It's a Friday. So come and see us before then. Tuesdays through Fridays from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. It is free admission. There is a donation box if you are so gracious to do that, but it is absolutely not required.
Carrie, thanks so much for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.